this is a matter of the city of, or the state of Michigan versus Maisie Lumia, 2442.
Good morning, Your Honor. Christopher Sheffield, appearing with my client who approaches.
Ma'am, your name for the record, please.
Macy Lumia.
Okay, and so why is that your children with you?
That's my daughter with me.
Okay, you didn't have anybody that could watch her today?
No, I had asked my sister. She left this morning before I got up. She was supposed to watch her, but didn't show up.
All right, and do we know is, where's my sheet? Kevin, did you look at this file today?
I did, Your Honor. Well, I did not look at that file. The PSI was emailed to me from probation, so I reviewed it on probation.
Okay, all right. And so, today's the date scheduled for sentencing on your client's plea to an amended charge. Your client received a great deal, and this matter, this larceny by conversion was amended to an attempted larceny by conversion. And did you have an opportunity to review the report and recommendation with your client?
Yes, Your Honor. Inspection accurate.
And is Alexa Smith in the courtroom? Okay. She did send in communication with probation regarding the plea that has now been lost to your client. And there are not any corrections that need to be made?
Your Honor, I saw that there was a restitution amount. My client has indicated that restitution has been made in regards to this matter.
And how much was the restitution that you paid, ma'am?
$97.
$97.
Correct.
When did you make that payment? And to whom did you make that payment?
It was disputed through PayPal, so my PayPal is on negative because she disputed it through that way. And that was possibly, so I think this incident occurred in October of 2021. November, I was supposed to have the shirts, sweaters done before December of Christmas. I want to say it was probably a little bit afterwards.
Okay, so she's claiming the restitution amount is $282, and that the items that she gave to you for whatever you were supposed to be doing, making a blanket or something?
It was a sweatshirt out of baby onesies.
Right, those are keepsakes, and she doesn't have those back anymore either.
Right, so
Where are the items?
I had placed them on. I told her, I had been to her house one time when it was raining, and she lives in Wyandotte. I can't remember the exact address. So when we were in communication and she got involved with my sisters and my family, I let her know I was dropping them off on the porch. Clearly the address was, it was like something around 5. So I mixed up the two numbers, but I did place the address or the bag of clothing on the wrong porch apparently. So I can't get this sweatshirts done, okay?
All right, counsel, as to the recommendation.
Your Honor, I ask you to consider the amount of time that's gone by since this date of the offense, and in the meantime, Judge, my client has been gainfully employed. She's been there for over 8 months as a sales rep. She's currently living in Riverview with her 3-year-old daughter. She is a single mother. She graduated high school in 2010, and she went to college with South University. Your Honor, in the circumstance, I'd ask you to consider the consequences she's experienced while on bond. She had to post a $1,000 bond. She did 13 days in jail. She's been on a tether since September 12th. She is still on a tether. Judge, I believe that she has been admonished for the poor choices she made. I'd ask that she be admonished no further than costs and fines with no probation and no jail. Thank you, Judge.
Well, here's the thing. So Ms. Lumia does not seem to learn from her mistakes. She has a retail fraud in 2014 in Southgate, a retail fraud out of Woodhaven in 2016, and then another retail fraud out of Flat Rock in 2016. And then there was a trespass out of Riverview. Was that also a larceny matter or something that was amended to trespass?
I don't know if it was amended to trespassing, but there was a trespassing.
Right, was there also a larceny or something else?
They accused me of stealing a $3 shot glass.
So ma'am, you seem to have a problem with,
Making justice.
what's that?
With making the correct choices and following through, and that's.
And Judge, I'd ask in this situation for myself to allocate opposed to my client. Judge, I'd ask you to look at the dates and the years on that. My client now has a 3-year-old daughter, and I believe that she was making terrible choices before her daughter was made. And based on the fact that there have been no new charges in the past 3.5 years, I think that is directly correlated with her new responsibilities. And I'm glad to see that we're not here arguing 2021, 22, 23, and 24 cases. She's very apologetic, but it does appear that she has put her right foot forward, and she is making better life choices. And the amount of admonishment that she's received on bond does seem relatively intense, and I think that is based on her prior actions. But I am very grateful to see that she is not continuing these behaviors. Nothing further from me.
Okay, except for in October of 23, when she communicated with Ms. Smith to make this sweatshirt of some sort, and she didn't make it. She took the items of Ms. Smith, which she had been saving that were keepsakes, and she didn't do what she was paid to do. And then also, your client was given an opportunity to make it right before charges were filed. And she didn't do that. And so I'm not sure, ma'am. I mean, you had over a year to make a sweatshirt. You advertised that you could make this sweatshirt. Somebody paid you the money. Somebody gave you clothing that they had been keeping of their child's. She gave you that clothing so you could make this sweatshirt. And you didn't do it. And then you didn't intend to do it because you deleted your social media. So you couldn't be contacted. And when you were given the opportunity to make it right, you didn't do it. You could have avoided these charges because you were in communication with the detective. And they gave you a deadline, you didn't meet it, and then they submitted the warrant.
My client does have a response.
So, I understand where I was wrong in not completing it. We actually went to Catholic school together, which makes it, and I felt guilty even longer, but, so we knew similar people when I worked at Courtroom at the car dealership. We both knew someone in contact with a police officer that works at Wyandotte. I had people from Coronel Ford calling me in regards to the matter. They're posting on social media. I just felt very guilty, overwhelmed with the situation. I didn't want it. Like, I was in the process of trying to get my job back at Coronel. They had let me go because after I had the baby, the scheduling wasn't lined up with having a child. And I understand, like, in 2021, after I had my daughter, I had terrible postpartum. I didn't have the correct mindset, and I lost my job at Coronel Ford. And then once I had Ricky Ermon and everyone, Darren Crowell, everyone was contacting me in regards to the matter, I just felt like ashamed of what I did, and I didn't know how to resolve the matter moving forward, to be honest with you.
Okay, and so ma'am, I hear all that from you.
Right.
But now you have a victim in this matter who gave you clothing that she was keeping as keepsakes of her infant.
Right.
And she asked you to make a sweatshirt out of that clothing. So now she doesn't have the clothing, she doesn't have the sweatshirt, and she had to dispute the payment because you didn't do as you were supposed to do. So you didn't actually refund the payment to her, she disputed it.
Right.
And I mean, it doesn't appear as though you've learned from any of your choices that you've made previously.
I have to correct you on that one. I do feel like I have learned. And I know my record is like ultimately the worst thing in the world. I have a 12-year-old daughter at the time. My mother and then fought to get custody of my oldest daughter. So there was a lot I was going through in the process of why I made the poor decisions I made. Now I'm at a point where like I'm in sales and like having the tether, I mean, it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed of myself. I have to be confident in sales and I'm not. I have to explain to my 2-year-old daughter, it's an ankle, but she don't know what it is, and then I have to hide it from my 12-year-old daughter, my family, everybody. Nobody knows I have one on. So and then even when I went to jail for the 12 days or 13 days I went, I pretended like I was in a sales conference, like lying to people I know because I'm embarrassed of my decisions and my past of what I made. And that to me is where I feel like I have learned, especially this time around. In the past, maybe you could say I have not.
Okay, but if you but you're not even taking accountability. You're lying to people. You're lying to people as to what is going on right now.
No,
You're
about
lying
the
to people
tether.
as to, that's the tether, as to where you were when you were in custody. I mean, why not own it? If you were to own it and show your accountability,
Right,
that would tell the court that you have accepted responsibility.
right.
But you haven't, because you're continuing to be dishonest. Your criminal history is littered with crimes of theft or dishonesty.
Right, right. And I feel like, I'm not being dishonest with the court about my actions. It's my mother, after my dad died 3 years ago, my mom's a mess. So she doesn't need the responsibility of what my actions were and what I did wrong. You know, on top of that, I wasn't really raised with my mother in our household. I was on my own when I was 17, 18 years old. So it's not that, I mean, like her dad knows, he helped me get out of jail, he helped call the time. So I'm honest with the people that are in my circle and my family as far as her father and my daughter and my little one, because she's seen it. But like my oldest one is at my mother's household, and that's where I feel like I don't want her to look at me as such a bad role model, and that's where I meant by saying hi to you.
And so I show that you posted bond on September 10th.
Correct.
And then how long were you waiting for the tether?
It was around 13 days.
You waited for the tether for 13 more days?
Correct. So the bond was posted here while I was incarcerated. And then I was shipped to county to get the tether, and I was waiting that process for the tether. I got in there Friday, I stayed 2 Fridays, I got it on the following Monday.
All right, here's what the court's going to do. The court finds after reviewing the report, the recommendation hearing from counsel, hearing from Ms. Lumia, and reviewing the criminal history and the report, and taking into account the communication from the victim in this matter, does not find there's reasonable grounds for Department of CL 769.5. And according to Ms. Smith, she states that the items of clothing were not returned, neither was the money. And so, and she didn't have any receipts regarding the clothing because they had been kept for keepsakes, and so obviously it had been a few years. So, the court is going to order 45 days jail, credit for 13, and the court's going to, so that's an additional, let's see here, 32 days that this court's going to have you serve. The court's going to suspend 25 days, you're going to serve 7 days.
In your honor, as to the time in custody, we appreciate the suspended days. Would it be possible for my client to have a report day or a report time? I know that she has her daughter here today. She just needs to make the necessary arrangements. She's not failed to appear at any court dates. I have no reason to believe that she would not appear timely, especially with what I'm sure is to be followed if granted the penalty of failing to appear.
Yes, I will have you report December 26th.
Yes. Can you do that? Yes, your honor. Thank you for that consideration.